in fourth, Quick Turtles in fifth. It was aim for shoot to kill, but that said, Matt, the issue for everyone is going to be the Sonics getting 13, a huge score in yet another game.
I mean, dude, Sonics are just so good. And yes, we were talking about it beforehand and through kind of the technical stuff. In case you guys missed it, Zampa is playing on Sonics right now and letting him do let him just go have fun, for lack of a better term, and just supporting him as he makes his plays through there. Dodge, though, and Quick Turtles making a firm showing for themselves as well. Really making it into the late game. You saw that Quick Turtles had good awareness on what was going on around them, but it's going to be really the way that the setup comes into play and the kills that Dodge managed to pick up to allow them to tie off. While we do see it was actually going to be, I believe, Inquisition that finished off Dodge. They at least managed to vie against Quick Turtles that were holding him out for so long to at least equalize points.
Yeah, it was a big pickup by Fudge. QT actually, I think, needed those 2 kills and didn't get them, and that dropped them all the way down to 5th, despite finishing 2nd place. Not what you want to see. Now, I think we are ready with the overall standings. I'm curious to see where Sonics kind of came out on the top of this thing. They are at a whopping 36 total points after 2 games. Matt, let's take a step back. Take a deep breath here. We'll talk about expectational performance to make sort of a top of a lobby. The cutoff is probably going to be between 7.5 to 10 points per game. You know, and I think that's at the high end. The Sonics are doing 15.5 points per game and like making it feel effortless.
I mean, what do you do when you're holding down double what is a good points per game average is right now? 36 between 2 rounds, 18 points, I'm thinking off the top of my head. I'm bad at math, so no telling off that. But also Inquisition, Dodge holding above 10 apiece. Shoots a kill, no surprise coming in from that last game, getting themselves a good performance. Going to go ahead and be pushing into right around that, I don't know, 9.5 region, somewhere around there. So good positionals coming out from them, good play coming in. But do note, Afromaniacs 300, Any Trolls in chat, Guadalajara Gas Cans, these are all teams that are also wanting to make statements for themselves. And I got to say, Comments is a little bit more quiet than I was expecting them to be.
Yeah, well, they got shut up pretty hard by Light Show in the first game. I'm not sure if they mentally bounced back in time for the second one. That said, it's only 2 games in. We got 6 tonight, 6 tomorrow, 6 the day after. Plenty of time. 12 games for each of these teams to put points on the board. I do want to say this. To really punctuate how strong the Sonics are right now, in 14th and 15th place are the Keck W, Kiers, and Gravity. They sandwiched the Sonics on top of the hill sort of early on in this match, and they both tried to kill them. They both died one after another, and Sonics goes all the way up to like 5th place, but with 10 of those things. It's just, that's crazy how good they are.
I mean, if anything, it's just like they're unlocking new potential, and they're just so comfortable, I guess is the good way to say it, is they just always moving into position. They know exactly how they want to play every single fight.
I've got news. The game is ready. It's game 3 for those of you who are kind of just joining us through a chaotic day. Game 3 about to get underway. After this will be halfway through our matches. And for the first time, it's a reasonable plane, Matt.
I don't understand. It's supposed to go over the canal itself, and that's the only place that it's ever supposed to go. I mean, first 2 circles, that's the way we saw it. I'm disappointed because now we're not going to see any more early game Lipo action, man. That was cool to see.
That was actually very exciting. It was actually really impressed at how that ended. So not going to happen this time. A lot of options for our teams to go out. And honestly, the only places that aren't particularly droppable are outside of Yasnaya are not spots that I would say are particularly well desired because even power is reachable from this location. So we'll see a lot of teams drop down. A couple grab some rotationals. That said, there's not a lot of options for sort of the late rotation. I think in the last 2 games, Matt, because of the circle, there was a lot of chances for teams to grab cars and disappear into the north and then make their way back when it's convenient. That's not going to work so much this time around.
I mean, whenever we're looking at this, a fairly centered circle, I mean, this is bread and butter PUBG right now, so shouldn't be too concerned with that. But I'm kind of caught up in the fact that we got somebody looting Zarky right now. That makes me happy. ATC going back to tried and true roots of North Georgia Pool where they're doing their looting. TAC 8 has a very strong position for the circle, and it's really just a matter of where they want to regroup and what they consider to be strong to play from.
Yeah, it's a great sort of line there. No one looting near them. Honestly, the closest team is Cozy, and Cozy has an insane amount of real estate. Cozy has all of Razak to one person, all of Sunken to one person, all of Ruins to one person, and Cube outside of George, which is at the edge of the circle, and we'll let them play Gatekeeper to one person. They are going to be kitted to the nines.
I mean, opportunity abounds for them from this point. They should have full control in whatever they're wanting to do. Rumblers rolling their way into Yasnaya, going to go ahead and get themselves super looted as well. With this plane path, this is a good read on what's going on. Assuming that nobody's playing in this positional, they can just run over here, grab a ton to work with. I do have to say that my eyes are drawn to the west, though, where we see right now, up in Zarki, Gravity, ATC North George, South George shoot to kill with a touch of Afro Maniacs also being in there, show playing from that position. I mean, we still, to the south of that, still have QT and KEKW as well. None of them are inside the zone and are going to have to figure out how they're going to navigate into what could be a very, let's just say, traffic-ridden rotation.
Crop getting very low. All he has is a car, and he hopes that Cozy doesn't know he's there. But Cozy very clearly is looking for someone. Crop did not make it into the compound I think he wanted to be sitting in when these guys showed up. So he is in a very tough spot. You know the comms right now are like, emergency, send help. Because if Cozy tries to push that road, he may get one. But after that, it's pretty much dunsies.
They are definitely on the hunt. Reno running the Tommy gun right now. You can see peeking every single corner. I like this. Instead of just like opting into the building where you know that somebody's going to be hard looking for you, you might be able to make something tricksy happen from this point, specifically when they try to cross the road. If you keep ears open, hear how the footsteps are approaching you. Meanwhile, the rest of, well, I would say a little bit of reinforcements. Just Weem is rolling over here. Attack 8 not wanting to make a hard commit, sending all their players over. So that should let Cozy know where the rest of them are at. And Zuki finds the angle. So the Uber coming in to try to pick up Crop is instead going to go down. But here you go. Crop, this is why you played this point. You have an opportunity, you hear the footsteps, gets the beat onto it, gets the angle, goes for one, gets the second one as well. Now has to play this very carefully, juking around, gets the lineup into it, gets a little bit more damage, trying to play for position, but the rest of TAC 8 cannot get there just in time. Let's see if they can manage to mop this one up, though. They do have the angles to work with. Tetra and Delta, the last two up.
Gotta respect the single shot hip fire prayer. Worth it. The smokes do go out. That will allow the pickup in the back as Steezy finishes off Reno from the high ground. So Cozy, who thought they were going for an easy peasy flush, are down to 3 and taking a ton of damage.
You gotta play this so carefully as they make their approach. Steezy's on the other side of it. Trying to get, looks like they did manage to get the res back into one. Tetra's going to be peeking around a very dangerous angle, and instead, TAC 8 says the fact that, hey, we have a great position in the circle. Why do we want to risk it? And also, Sonic's getting involved up on the top of it. Trimsy's like, hey, there's some potential kill points for me to grab. Not going to go ahead and commit too much into it, but he's kind of by his lonesome over here, just kind of stretching his legs, seeing what he can get.
So T8 just bouncing. I think Cozy, you know, all things considered, they'll be okay with the results there, right? Like, yes, we lost one, but it could have been significantly worse. If that had not been I think it was a Mosin that he tried to hip fire with. If he had some sort, honestly, like an SLR and SKS that he could have rattled, they might have gone very differently.
I mean, that's almost one of those stages where a pistol could have put in a lot of work as well. We don't even see that happen too much inside of competitive, but I mean, there's some work to be had from that position. You can see Comets making the rotation out. They were playing down in Milta, I believe. Milta Power was where they made their drop at, and so instead rotating around to the east, which should be the more comfortable rotation to say the least, compared to everything that's going to be happening in the west. Sonics are kind of out and about doing Sonics things right now, as well as Gas Cans finally leaving military base, managing to make it onto the main island itself. So a couple of potential fights brewing depending on rotations, but I mean, for the little bit of action we've had, there's still a lot of opportunities for these teams to get really good control points.
When's the last time you picked up a pistol in game?
In game, I still do it a lot.
Oh, I think I haven't
Revolver
picked one up
Light,
since probably not since like 1997, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while. But you said sometimes it's a great thing to have out, especially remember X sprinting is the same with a sidearm. So It doesn't hurt to grab it. I just think most of us are lazy. Zampa crossing the field. God, I hate that field so much. Driving across it is better than it used to be, but it is still a nightmare. Zampa does lead the charge from Sonics as they get a nice little cross. You can see the gas cans in the distance playing the hilltop dip. 300's got a pretty good compound that'll be tough to dig them out of. Once Vox gets in there, they'll just be able to turtle up nice and strong. STK playing their game as they move out of sort of the ruins, or sort of into that sort of ruins adjacent. I think that's near Sunken. Should be in pretty good shape.
So just to give everybody a follow-up, yes, I know I made a comment about handguns, and before we move into that, most people just don't opt into carrying them, because why would you do that when you can have more throwables? So that's kind of the nature of the beast whenever you look at competitive itself. Any trolls in chat doing a good job of defending up. Ethan, if you've been able to catch it in the start of the last round, managed to do quite a bit of work for his team from position. So he gets off the damage that he wanted to get, instead of retreating back into a little bit more defended point to get a little bit more meds. Shoot to kill, though, still has opportunities in front of them. Looks like they're going to smoke this one just a little bit more. Maybe try to get back into vehicle. We'll have to see how they want to play this. They're just more concerned with potential flanks coming into play, wrapping around from the side of them where they're a little bit more vulnerable.
All right, let's take a look and see what happens. Icy Flex got a nice little angle here with that SKS, STK driving by. Penta outside the car trying to send warning shots, and it works, but it does not scare Icy Flex. He's like, you're too far away. I know you're just spraying. Back off.
So whenever we're looking at everything, Shoot to Kill should be able to regroup 2 up. They're going to get control of the Badlands. Most of the teams manage to make the rotation into point, and the Badlands are kind of its own little independent category up to the northwest of everything that's going on. Gravity is going to be to the east of them, Cozy. We saw them get in that fight earlier. Not going to really have a lot of vision to work with. Really just maybe as people crest hilltops. Speaking of hilltops, you can see that Keck W is also posted up against QT down to the southwest of what's going on in the circle on Chinky Hill.
All right, let's see it. Quick Turtle and Rippers trying to got a nice little spot here up on top of the mountain. You can see Keck W Keers off in the distance. The circle was so middle that it hasn't really forced a lot of hands. Currently 16 teams left up, 62 people alive. So we are going to continue to sort of get that collapse nice and slow.